yeah, man, sometimes those people aren't meant to be our friends.
Yeah.
Just because they were your friends 5 years ago. Like, I had friends that I grew up with in high school that I swore were going to be around for the rest of my life.
I have friends that I was so tight with them, I can't believe that we're not
and
still
some
friends.
of them still are, but most of them aren't. You know, most of them, the moment that you try to work on yourself, the moment that you try to, like, develop yourself more, it's almost like a slap in the face to them that you're willing to change who you are. And sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes you just grow apart. But I did notice that the moment that I was like, I'm not coming to the bars, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, like, you do have a lot of people who just disappear.
I mean, if that's what you and your friends do,
right,
and you stop, you're going to definitely have some friends that fade.
But yeah, that's what we were talking about, is like, so it's okay that happens, dude. Just like, reach out to the right people. I'm like, I'm here. Like, I haven't seen you in fucking 4 years, and like, there's probably a reason that I'm working on this. You're going through the hardest time in your fucking life, and I'm asking you to come and talk to me.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's tough. Like, I could say there's been many times that I can recall where I felt like I was going through the worst time in my life, and I think the more you go through that and take accountability and are like mindful as you're going through those stages of life, it gives it a different perspective when you go through it or you see somebody else going through it. Like what you were saying, kind of seeing it from a different level, like a higher level. That's like mindfulness. You're recognizing your experiences and how your mind has worked through those moments.
Yeah.
And I think as we go through those experiences and try to I guess utilize the things that we're learning as like lessons and challenges to work through. I think once you get through it, you just have a whole different outlook on it. Yeah. And so you can see that it's like mindfulness in action, right? Like he's describing things that you can relate to.
Yeah.
You could pick up on it really easily. And I think it's due to mindfulness, right? Like you're absorbing his energy and like seeing what he's putting off and can recognize it as something you've been through before and have managed to make it through,
It's it's just weird how like the room kind of slowed. Like that's one thing that I will say. I just like, I mean, he's talking, I mean, I'm listening to what he's saying, but I'm like, the whole room just kind of seemed to shift.
Yeah.
And like point away from it. And I was like, wait a minute. And like, exactly to your point, like it is obviously being mindful, especially once you've been through those situations. And I also think if like this is, if we talk about the universe of God's lesson or whatever, it's also our obligation. Like it's my obligation when whatever helped me through my worst moment, whether that was God, the universe, myself, somebody else reaching out, like any of that, whatever that was, it's my obligation to, like, after I've kind of figured out how I got through it, it's my obligation to at least try to help teach how to do the same thing.
I mean, I don't disagree with that. I think that there have been a lot of conversations that have been put in front of me with people where they're at different points in their life. And, I don't think that there's like a coincidence can happen for sure, but I definitely feel like I've been placed in conversations on purpose, to be able to give some insight to someone or perspective. But, it's one thing I think I'm more mindful of now. I think like I've become more blunt, or maybe that's like just a short way of saying that like now I recognize because I can see myself having gone through so many different circumstances and understanding what it took to get through them and what level of effort and drive I invested into myself to get through those moments. That's something that I pick up on now a lot with people. And if somebody is genuinely going through it, I will absolutely try and offer advice and insight. And then there's other people that you can tell they are perpetually stuck in this state of negativity or complaining or self, pity. and
We catch ourselves in
doubt,
it
self
sometimes
doubt,
too.
all that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like I can recognize
Yeah.
when I'm in it. I can recognize when you're in it. We've
Mhm.
talked before, and I'm like,
Hey.
are you like, do you need to feel this for a little bit? Because sometimes it feels good. Like
Yeah.
sometimes, the right set of circumstances, I have no problem getting down for a few days
Yeah.
and feeling low and watching myself and feeling myself pulling myself through that situation and experience with the intent to grow from it. Like I
Mhm.
recognize when I'm in a hard place mentally, and sometimes I let myself sit there so that I can utilize it to grow through.
Yeah.
And other times, it takes a friend recognizing it and saying something. But that's why I'm like, hey, are you
Yeah.
are you wanting to feel this out right
Yeah.
now and just want to be
Exactly.
in that
Yeah.
place, or do you want the honest
It's
advice?
it's a really good like kind of concept is the fact that you gain things through negativity as well.
Mhm.
I was kind of talking to one of our team members on this. Like the overthinking aspect, like
Mhm.
labeling that as like a negative on the questionnaire that we were talking about, like
Mhm.
labeling it as a negative, as like what are things that you struggle with. It's like overthinking. I'm like, well, wait a minute, let's break that down, because overthinking can be good
Yeah.
in ways too. It can be really good in ways. You
Yeah.
just have to decide what you're overthinking and the like what you're overthinking about. Obviously, shit pops up in our brain, but
Yeah.
if your mindset about overthinking is negative, it's going to be negatively overthinking everything, right? But if you're
Yeah.
like, well, I positively overthink. I overthink how to do this job so much that I make sure I don't lose money on it. Or, I mean, my brain overthinks all the time, but what it does is it also allows me to grab every aspect of things that we need to do. I
Mhm.
just have to work with the overthinking.
Yeah. I
You know?
mean, so what I've learned in this space as someone who I would consider myself to be an overthinker, right? I think that something I've learned about it is like we all are hardwired to think, right? Like that's what the brain does.
Yes.
It's going to think regardless. So I think the term overthinking is a little bit, um, I don't want to call it cliche, but I think it's definitely overused,
Yeah.
right? And like you have to remember that your mind is designed to think. So you're always thinking. That doesn't, like, that's normal, right?
Right.
You're supposed to be thinking about stuff going on all the
Yeah.
time. It's further than that. It's if you're ruminating in negative feelings or negative thoughts, that's when it's a problem. Rumination, um, I think, is slightly different. Um, but if you're keeping your thoughts on the negative things, you're going to continue to feel the negative things,
Mm-hmm.
and at some point, you have to tell yourself, to stop, and you have to replace those thoughts. That's where
Well,
therapy, cognitive
yeah.
behavioral therapy, can help. But just reminding yourself every time a negative thought comes up and replacing that
Yeah.
with something positive. It's also with meditation, same type of thing. You're quiet and you're letting thoughts come and go and
Yeah.
not attaching yourself to those thoughts. And so mentally you're not attaching and overthinking those thoughts in your mind. You're just letting it go.
Yeah.
And when you can translate that to, daily life, then you can see when you're stuck on a thought subject
Yeah.
or type of feeling or something, and you can, I think, work through it a little easier when you're able to say, like, this is me overthinking, this is
Yeah.
me ruminating in this. And you have to find tools
Well,
to
and
work yourself through that.
yeah.
Or you just cycle,
Yeah.
which I think everybody
Which
has
is what
done. And
happens. I think that like when you say that when you have the tendency to ruminate, and like that is seems to be off of a negative thing, and then you use the term overthinking because you're ruminating, like
mm-hmm,
that is a different thing than overthinking, because
mm-hmm.
like you said, like having that hardwired, you know
Yeah, I mean, it's just
have
like,
we are hardwired to think, and we
right.
do it all the time. And if you want to think a little slower, go for a jog
Mm-hmm,
and come back. Like you want to think a little faster, take some caffeine.
right.
But regardless, it's not overthinking. It's the rumination of where you are when you like in your thoughts.
Yeah, it's those thoughts being attached to a negative, thought cycle or feeling.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get across, is the fact that like thinking is good. Thinking can always be good. It's your choice to make sure that it's good.
Yeah, and it's hard.
But it's really fucking hard.
Yeah.
And you only get better at it at practice. And I don't know. I was just trying to, like, when we were talking about the questionnaires for the guys, because we're trying to grow and try to figure this thing out a little bit better. We're trying to figure out where we want to place people and stuff. It was fun for me reading everybody's stuff because it was questioning. I wasn't necessarily even asking questions for me.
For the answers. Well, it's not.
Yeah.
It's the question. It's not just what the answer says.
Yeah.
It's the thought process and the thinking style of that person based on what they wrote out.
Which I had never done before.
Like, how deep is this person actually thinking about these areas or these issues? And you can tell, who does think on a deeper level about those things, or or who's just kind of surface level.
Well, and you can tell too who rushed through it and who didn't. And with that, I had said to the people that I on the team, I was like, I can tell that you just got this done yesterday. Like I can tell that this, I can tell that, and it's like it's okay, but if I can ask, like, if I can give a suggestion. Next time, take your time. Well, like start and handwrite it out.
Yeah,
because it does. You do find it more. I get to feel the more of the you, which is what we're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I'm not looking for a scientific A and B answer. I'm looking for the thought process behind it, because what that does is it allows me to understand the thought process that you'll use while you're working with the team.
Right.
Which I'd never done before. I'd never taken people's papers and read them. So like in my mind, when I made the questionnaire, I'm like, oh, I'll get direct answers. Like, I would love to do this. I would hate to do this. I would love to do this. I didn't get that at all, dude.
No.
It's so far from that. Like, everybody just was all over the place, and like some people, and it's fun. Like, it really was a fun thing for me. And so
that's the starting point.
I also think that it would be a good idea for me to do one for all of you guys for me. So like doing we're going to do ours. I just mean like a questionnaire between the guys, and so I can, make sure that, because I feel like I'm fucking rambling today. I don't know I'm so like, I'm in a fog today. The one thing that I've always loved about teaching is like, and when I say teaching, I mean like teaching somebody how to do certain work at a job that we did, or teaching and the one thing that I love about it is there's so many ways to do it. Like, some people are physical learners, some people are mathematical learners. Like, there's so many different ways that people learn. And so when I'm teaching, if I'm done teaching this way, I literally go, does that work for you, or do you need it explained? Like, do you need it written on paper? Do you need me just to like physically show you? And that's like how all of my follow-ups are when I'm teaching something.
Yeah.
And because I know that some people will literally look at me draw something out completely, and I can understand it. You might be able to understand it, but they go, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, well, let's crush that up, and let's go over and show you exactly. Do you want a hands-on feel? Do you want to do it and want me, like, have me walk you through it, or do you want me to walk you through it and I'm showing you how?
Yeah, I mean, people think and absorb information differently. Some are physical, some are mental, but it makes you a better teacher when you have to go through the different methods of passing on the information. It makes you a better teacher the more you have to evaluate how they're.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite things about like getting into management and getting into like learning higher levels is, once I got through the fear of like, oh, I got to teach somebody, I fell in love with being able to teach, because it's not for them. It's for me. I learn how to do things better. I also totally learn, like, if I go, hey, just do this, and then they go to do it, and I'm like, well, wait, no, my bad, dude. I guess that isn't going to work. Like, let's do it this way. And I know that, when you're, like, my buddies will tell me all the time when they're teaching jujitsu, like, that's how they learn. They learn by like having to teach the lowest people down how to do something. Yeah. Because they're explaining it and they're like, that's not right. And then also on top of that is what comes from the teaching is the terminology that you use. And it helps you. Like if I go and I tell, I'm telling the guys like, hey, go nail that up. I use this 18 gauge nailer. But if I didn't know that and I was just like, hey, go nail that up, right? And they're inexperienced, they're going to go grab a framing nailer and shoot through a piece of trim and there's going to be holes this big, But like, so it requires you also when you're teaching to learn the terminology the right way too.
Yeah.
So it's really just a growth on your end as soon as you start teaching, which is something that I guess I kind of started to love.
Yeah. I mean, I think I like passing on information, the best. I think some of the best teaching moments I've had with people have been not intentional. You know, it's when somebody's going through something and I'm able to try and give them perspective based on an experience that I've had or, based on the work that I've done to get through something. But it also has made me more, I guess, more callous to, like what I was saying before, a little more callous to what people are expressing as they go through things and how I express my advice. If I see somebody going through something that they're putting themselves through over and over, I can handle a little bit of, naivete where they don't realize that they're doing it, but once you get to a point, it's a choice, right? And at that point, you either like it because you keep doing it, or it's going to make you uncomfortable enough to make a change and force a change. And I think that's where a lot of people get in that struggle is either they don't know how to make a change or are fearful of what that change would be. And it's like turning that key on that lock might actually open up, a door for you. And if you're too afraid to acknowledge what you need to do, you should just expect to maintain that mentality,
When you say this like bluntness too, it's funny because I know exactly what you're talking about because there's questions that people will ask me that aren't like people who aren't working on themselves or whatever. And I'm not like, here I am, like I'm not boosting the ego to be like, I work on myself and I've got blunt answers for you. But there were people before me who had blunt answers who, as I was going through something, they're like, what the fuck are you, why are you doing this? Why? Like, or, you're literally not seeing the solution right here. Like, and again, it comes from getting through all of that, like colored thinking and like all of these emotions that you attach to things and all of the outcomes that you attach to it. And eventually you realize like what you want is on the other side of the hard work. Yeah. What you want is on the other side of all of the difficult things that you have to give up. But frankly, it's all worth it. Like I was kind of thinking, I was trying to think of like this experiment we could all do. And I know it's hard because this is like, I don't even know if this is possible, but I think every one of us as a team, I think everybody in the world, but I think everybody, like one of us have a vice that we carry with us.
If not more than one.
But we carry a vice. And the one thing that I was thinking about like this, the one thing that you're holding on to, if you were to give up, would probably benefit you much more than holding on to that thing, right? Like the vice is that last dying thing that's holding you back. And it's like, I have mine, and
I think it varies depending on what area of life you're talking about and what somebody's going through. But yeah, I agree. I think everybody's got at least something that they're doing, participating in, thinking, feeling that probably does them no good, that they could work through. I mean, some of my best teachers or people that I've learned the most from would observe me or hear me out, and would give me support and offer, that emotional support. And then if I continued it, then it was like, at a point, that's enough of that. Yeah. Like, are you going to do something about it or not?
Well, at this point, you're wasting my time.
Right.
Right. So I get, that's what I mean. Like, I completely understand. I never thought that, for like the longest time, I always thought like, oh, like you can't just give people blunt answers. But when you've been through it yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you forget that you wouldn't listen to the advice that you're speaking,
Mm-hmm.
but that's all you need to do.
Yeah. Well, it's it's once you've gone through things and you've learned them, you realize that sometimes difficult decisions are still just a quick choice, and it's really hard because of the magnitude of something in your life. It's hard to make adjustments to those things or changes to those things because it feels like so much. But once you look beyond something that you've made it through,
Mm-hmm.
typically you're like, man, I could have done that however long ago, or applied this to myself a long time ago, and it would have been better sooner. So I think it just varies on the person and the situation. Um,
Yeah.
but
I think I'm just coming down from like a long fucking week getting too much shit done.
you've got a lot. You've
Yeah.
gotten a lot done, and there's I mean, you record a lot. You got a lot of people that
Yeah.
you're.
I don't know. I just feel like I'm not even awake yet, but I've
Yeah.
been awake for like 3 hours. But I also spent some time just fucking chilling on Marketplace for no reason today. And it's like this. Okay, well, here's an honest part, right? Like, that's a fucking. I was literally just doing it to waste time.
Mm-hmm.
When I went for a run this morning, I went for my first run in like, I don't know how long. I mean, other than like on the treadmill
It's good.
in here and then on the treadmill there for like 30 seconds. But
It's good. It helps. Getting back into the operation is a
yeah,
good thing. I
like
think for all
I
of us.
do want to. Yeah, I mean, that's been fun. My push-ups obviously need work. I know that. But
We all could use some
yeah,
work, but I've had Noah doing it with me,
that's
so
good.
he's on the same thing I am right
Yeah.
now, and
Cass is doing. Me and Cass are doing
yeah,
it together.
yeah.
Which is great. Like, I just went on the run because I was like, I gotta get up and do something. And maybe that's why
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little like foggy, because I haven't done that. But like, sometimes I'll catch myself in those. Um, I'll catch myself in this like fog period where
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I like always equate it to Reiki Bobby.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do I do with my hands?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's steps, right, that you take
Mm-hmm.
to get there. And I feel as if throughout the entire week, when you're crushing it,
Mm-hmm.
there's that point, like, you hit this wall, and everything in me is like, no, fucking, like, I'm dragging this bag of momentum over top of the wall. When in reality, if I were just to like chill out for a minute, like, the
Mm-hmm.
door will open
Yeah,
and I'll be able
I'm the
to
same way.
push back through. But like, it's so, what is that? Like, it's so hard that once you get moving, if you feel stagnant, like once we get moving with all the stuff that we had going on here and
Mm-hmm.
all the podcasts that we're like stacking up and all the reels and
Mm-hmm.
then the questionnaires and like this massive thing, and it feels fucking great to like
Mm-hmm.
get so much stuff done. And then you hit this spot where you're like, I don't know if I'm physically exhausted, emotionally exhausted, mentally exhausted, like spiritually exhausted. I don't know what I am right now, but some kind of wave is just fucking slamming me down.
Well, I
Even
think it's
though
important to
you're
like it.
working out, you're eating right,
Yeah.
you're doing all of it. And I know that first of all, I know my body's in shock from starting to do all of that at once, because it's just how it happens with me. It's just like, I think equating it to like dragging all of the work that you've done,
Mm-hmm.
trying to get it over top of a wall instead of just waiting for it to open up when you're ready, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Well,
Like,
I
being
mean,
okay in the.
yeah. I mean, I think we have things we have to get done, right? There's responsibilities and tasks and all of these things that have to happen throughout our daily lives, and then mentally, on top of all of that, you're adding your shoulds and your expectations and your doubts and your fears and your wants and like all of these other things mentally. So I think in terms of like looking at everything that has to get done, it's actually pretty simple. You know, I know I get going really hard during the week, and I'm like, just on it all week, and looking at what I'm actually doing and having to get done it's actually all pretty simple, but I have all of these expectations and desires and fears attached to everything that I'm doing in so many areas of my life that it just makes all of those things feel heavier, right? So
they all carry way more weight.
yeah, I mean, it's like, I think you get into that situation where it's like, when everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. When everything's on fire, you don't know which one to put out first, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's a matter of finding the balance and trying to go through things calculated with a realistic expectation of what your the correct expectation of what you think you're going to get out of any given situation, right? Like, we have all these things that we want to get done in order to get to this end goal, and so all of these choices feel weighted, and they feel urgent, and they feel bigger than, in all reality, what they really are, which is you just kind of check these little boxes off, and eventually it's going to be there, and we'll have that, but none of these little things necessarily make or break any given day.
Yeah.
We just put that emphasis on these things, which make it harder at times.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good point. I don't think if I'm thinking about it right now, like, as I go through my week,
mm-hmm.
When I'm sitting here, sometimes I just talk about the fact that we're doing bad, but in reality, I've got construction work going on, and then this full time.
Yeah, and then everybody
coming
you have
and going.
People here with you that are on different levels
mm-hmm.
in life, and
sometimes
lot of
people
information.
Will stop by after work,
right,
for a good thing, or sometimes they don't.
Yeah, you have a lot of information passing over your plate, and some of it, I'd say a majority of it, is not necessarily related to or relevant to anything that you have going on.
Yeah.
And there's other dynamics to that, but essentially you have that in your space also on top of the things that you're trying to work through and get through. And it's good to have friends and camaraderie and be able to be there for people as they're going through things and talking about their stuff. But some of it's just so like,
well, and to be
like, come on, why are we even talking about this? Why are you in this space still?
Yeah.
That we even have to have this conversation.
What I was telling you about, like, this whole, like, in the office without doing work thing,
mm-hmm.
that's the kind of energy and stuff that I've been trying to avoid, to where it's like, I know that, like, I love all my friends,
mm-hmm.
and I want all of them to grow and stuff, but we're all going to grow at different levels. We're all going to grow at different speeds. And for a while, I was, whatever path that I was on, it was like, hey, you guys, everybody can be here. Watch me go through this path. It'll make you want to do the same thing. Then when you get to a point where you're like,
ready,
I've been here and no one else is moving, and you're kind of like, everyone's kind of like dragging me down. Even if somebody just comes in here and sits on their phone, I'm like, get out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, like, if you want to work on something, you can ask me. Or if you need something,
mm-hmm.
you can call me. Like, I'm not trying to tell you that I'm not here for you, but this is my space of, like, this is my
productivity.
This is my safe space, dude.
Yeah.
Like, this is my place that I get, that I grow to a different level in life.
Right.
And I don't, it's when you talk about, like, all that information and stuff, I've noticed it lately,
mm-hmm.
to where I'm like, I don't,
it's not even that
so much of it. Yeah, it's just so much of it. And so, like, I go,
it's overstimulating.
Yeah, exactly. And I go, it's not that I don't care, because it sounds callous for me to be like, I don't fucking care what you're going through.
But certain people, especially,
but
based on what available information and just looking around and taking the example,
mm-hmm.
could be further along.
Yeah, and I have to be like, and I have recently been like, no. Yeah,
well, so that's why it's good to be able to point people in the right direction and not necessarily solve things for them.
Well, you're not supposed to drag them with you, right?
Well, and I, like...
The Bad Project is about finding those small distractions that keep you moving when life tries to pin you down.
That's what our gear stands for. They're reminders you can wear, carry, and share to push through those hard days. Every shirt, every hat, every sticker helps spread the message. When you're wearing it, you're not just buying our merch, you're backing the mission. We're building more than just a brand. As we roll out bad activity events, your support helps make them possible. With new drops, holiday specials, and surprises always around the corner, we really are just getting started. If you want to go even deeper, hit our new Patreon for Bad Thoughts episodes, bonus content, behind the scenes, and a closer seat in this community we're building. We're even doing giveaways. So check out the gear at thebadproject.com, hit our Patreon, and follow us on all the socials to stay locked in. This movement's only growing, and you're going to be a part of it. Thanks for everything you guys are doing. Love you all.
Cass & Co. Upscale Thrift is redefining resale. Think timeless fashion, luxury brands, and curated pieces, all at prices that let you stay stylish without the splurge. Whether you're hunting for vintage classics or this season's designer staples, we'll make high-end accessible. Dress like you own the runway for a fraction of the price.
Every crew's got that one guy who shows up late, drinks gas station mud, and wonders why he feels like trash by lunch. Don't be that guy. Construction Coffee Co. isn't cheap sludge. It's small batch coffee roasted to keep you moving when everyone else is crying about their backs. Smooth enough to sit black, strong enough to keep you upright when your foreman's breathing down your neck. Fuck that guy. And yeah, they've got gear too. Shirts, hats, workwear built tough enough for the job site, not that pajama junk your apprentice wears. This stuff actually holds up when you're crawling through mud or hanging steel. They're there for you to roast beans and roast you. Just like you do with your buddies on the job. Because that's the culture. Talk trash, laugh hard, and get it done. Construction Coffee Co. Clock in, drink up, shut up. Go to constructioncoffeeco.com to get yours. But
You're filling it out.
There's so much more than that.
Yeah,
right?
you're going to fill it out, but it's like I tell my kids, if you're going to do anything, you might as well do it to a higher quality.
Right.
So that A, you don't have to do it again,
Mm-hmm.
but B, your intention should be of betterment with whatever it is, betterment and success. Like, why even waste the time?
I know it's a silly analogy, right? But it's like painting the other side of the door.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so like we're doing these bifold doors or whatever. They had the wrong paint on them,
Mm-hmm.
and so like we have to fucking repaint them or whatever. And it's like they're just bifold doors, right? So no one's ever gonna see that the other side of the door isn't painted.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I was like, don't even worry about painting them.
Mm-hmm.
And then what comes back on us now that they're not, that they got painted the wrong color.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to paint them at the customer's house.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have to paint the other side of the door.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I mean, like, just do it right the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, put forth as much effort as you can the first time. And I know as people are, it's something I was thinking about, like, on my run this morning. Like, I can't continuously run, and it took me fucking 19 minutes to run a mile in 0.25.
Mm-hmm.
It's my very first time since, I don't know how long, maybe a year and a half, that I've actually like put my shoes on and ran outside.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept getting to these like micro goals in between to where I'd be like, oh, I got to run up to that sign.
Mm-hmm.
And then the more I would focus on the fact that I had to get to that sign,
Mm-hmm.
the more my body would be like, you're not going to, like, the more I could feel the chemicals and the pressure and everything in me, the more I would just be like, I got to get to that sign and then just go back to enjoying the music or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You flow right through it. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, that's my full effort. My full effort is there. My full effort is not focusing on the fact that I have to give my full effort.
Mm-hmm.
You start that, you give the goal, and you say, I'm going to give my full effort to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of adding in this, like, adding in all of the bullshit in the middle.
It's the doubt, right? Like, if you just make the decision, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and then you're able to, like, you made the decision, and then you're able to back off of that and kind of just zone out and proceed towards your goal.
I brought that up because of you last week saying the whole try thing. How you're trying to how you're not using the how you're not using the word try anymore. And I was like, when I was going for the run, I was like, I'll try to get there. And I was like, oh wait, I'm gonna take Chris's advice for a minute. Let's see if this works. And I was like, I'm going there.
Yeah.
And I just stopped.
Yeah, and it takes all that. It takes all of
music,
that.
though.
then that'll affect you too,
not good
man.
music.
Negative
Well,
music will affect
So
you.
here's the thing. I told you that we got the iPods and stuff.
Mhm.
It's not bad music. It just wasn't my taste. But I got that iPod and I just listened to what was on it, and it wasn't like my normal running music. And so because I didn't want my phone with me, I immediately like woke up and I was like, I don't want this fucking thing near me because I've heard it go off for week after week after week, and I'm like, I'm just done with this. So this isn't this is the second one I got, but the battery was still good, and I was like, fuck it, I'll try it. It wasn't my running music, so but I found some stuff in there. It was decent, but I'm gonna end up putting more shit on. But it was very nice. I could tell. Here's the other funny thing: like in the middle of that run, I would slow down to a jog or slow down to a walk real quick, and I would immediately go like this. Oh, it's an iPod. I can't do anything with it. Then I'd go for a run. And I'd be thinking, I'm like, I wonder what the weather's going to do this week. It was an iPod. And I like, it's funny because like, that's what I wanted. I knew that my brain, like I immediately was like, oh, what if I have a picture I want to take?
We're so
like,
hardwired.
What does it matter?
We're so hardwired into our distractions, especially when it involves the phone, that it's pretty ridiculous. But
it's just so funny, like how, like this is the exact reason that I wanted it, and how, like, like immediate it happens. Like the very first time I go on a walk without my phone, and I don't know how long. I mean, I've gone with walks without my phone with other people and stuff, but the last time I left my phone at home without and to go on do an exercise or a walk or whatever. I mean, even at the gym, it's like laying right there, right? Yeah. So like you have the urge to be like, oh, I'm thinking about this person. I'm texting them about this, and then you can keep that whole hyperactivity going throughout the entire day.
And I mean, part of that's routine. You know, like I've been very intentional over the last few years to put my phone down so that I could be present with whatever I'm doing, you know, or my kids, whatever it might be. So I'm probably a little more used to not having that distraction, but I definitely go through waves where I'll play games on the phone or do something on my phone, and I'll end up, you know, more and more each day I see myself doing that thing and have to be more intentional about separating myself from it. And I think nowadays it's even tougher because we do so much off of our phones. But I resent the phone. You know,
I do too.
I really dislike it. And if I didn't need it to be able to communicate and be able to keep tabs on the kids, I wouldn't even. I'd leave it at home. I'd go back to a landline. You know.
Yeah, I don't know if it was me and you that talked about this, or me and Ty and Matt or whatever, but you know, there's always a bad side of that coin where everyone's like, oh, this generation's fucked and they're going to stay on their phones and this and that. And the more I get close, I mean, I know
this generation is fucked.
I get it.
It's the first, this generation under yours is the first generation.
There's a generation after that too.
Yeah. What's after you guys? Like, I know I'm a little older than you, but what's after you is there's cognitive decline.
Well, I get that.
It's the first time it's ever been measured in the history of people since we've been tracking it. Kids are getting dumber because they are not using their minds.
It's idiocracy. What I'm saying though is that I get that. From what I feel is from what I feel is there's going to come a time. I don't know if it's going to be that generation or it's going to be my generation or it's going to be your generation where we literally go back to it, to where I go, I mean, I'm trying to, right? But I don't need this fucking thing.
I think it's going to progress a little further, in my opinion. I think we're going to have this generation
is going to progress a little bit.
I think we're going to see these kids that are currently behind come to be like these adults. Are the kids that are going to be adults and running for office and setting laws, and I have no doubt that people and the world will suffer when that generation is in control. And I think it's going to be a disaster, and they're either going to have to look to the people that are older and remember a time, you know, like I grew up where there wasn't computers and cell phones and all that, you know, like they were there, but not everybody wasn't using them. And then as a kid, they started becoming popular. You
Yeah.
know, my kids don't know a life without it. So the generation of my kids, luckily my kids I've made sure to make sure that they are not attached to that kind of stuff, you know, so that's great. But you can tell a difference between them and other kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to get so bad that they're going to have to look to the older people for direction, or their kids are going to be so displaced, like physically and mentally, from the disconnect from their parents, that they will be the ones to create changes.
Yeah.
You know,
I can see that.
but it's hard to say how that's all going to shake out.
Yeah,
We
so
might
you
all
think it's going to be
gone before
well, I
then.
know, but
So-
yeah. But in terms of if we weren't, like, you think it's going to get worse before, and you think it's going to get worse before everybody wakes up,
Well, right now,
right? Like everybody would wake up after.
what's the saying about good times create
Yeah.
weak
yeah,
men?
yeah. I know.
Weak men create a weak society, then
No, it's
strong
like
men.
yeah,
You know,
create hard times.
Mhm.
Hard times create weak men.
so I think right now we're in a period where the idiocracy is not fully here, but it's to a point, you know, where I see I see people starting to wake up from some of the hypocrisy and idiocracy that's out there.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of kids that are unaware to how life actually works, right? And we're all in this bubble here because things are comfortable. And so I think it's going to take some more uncomfortability and problems for those things to become fully exposed, you know? If that even happens, there's a lot of people that want things to continue the way that they are to keep people stupid. They want
Yeah.
useful idiots, you know, and they have that right now.
Yeah.
But I assume that people will suffer at the hand of that, and eventually, you know, people want to make changes. History repeats itself.
It does.
I know that what we see here going on here and then also in Europe happened before, and that was the rise of some of the fascism in Europe, in Germany, right? Like that's part of what brought that out. I also remember reading about like ancient times, you know, Rome was a huge society, and I remember reading about was it in Athens? They got very culturally progressive,
Yeah.
and
So,
to the point where they were like out of touch with reality.
yeah, it was the moment that the moment the struggle started to come was when they started to
Like
talk about gender studies,
right,
and
and they
things
were
like that.
they were so intellectual that
Mhm.
they thought they like forgot basic
Yeah.
things about like how the rest of the world viewed them and viewed life and all of that, and then they, you know, ended up losing their society over it.
Yeah.
So I could see that happening now. You know, I think there's people that are aware of what's going on and want to make a change, but it's hard to do that. More people need to get involved to make the changes.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we have idiots that run certain areas of our government, and it's because nobody else with more intelligence and perspective is running against them. Most people don't want that.
What would you do?
Most people don't want that life.
What would you do
know?
if you ran? I'm asking you a question. I'm fading out of this conversation.
It would
because we're
really,
talking politics.
yeah, it would really.
And I'm
depend.
also like fucking just. I don't know if I need to go stick my head in the ice bath or what.
I don't know, man. It would depend on what area of service I would be going into, what area of government, because I think
President of the United
different
States,
things.
Chris Miller.
There's a lot there, but I don't know. I think the country should be more.
Would everyone get a helicopter?
I don't know about a helicopter, but things would definitely change. You know, if you make everybody a
Tank.
billionaire, then everybody's in the
Oh,
same
then
place,
everybody's in
right?
the same place. I
Just
get
with
it.
a bunch of zeros.
But you know, the people who shouldn't have helicopters will wean themselves out. I'll wait about
this is
2
true.
months
Yeah, this is true.
to fly mine.
Yeah,
But
I don't know. There's a bunch of areas that I think should be different.
I don't actually think I have the capability of understanding those answers right now. I gotta take a break, dude.
I don't have
I gotta.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't.